If you're wondering why your content isn't blowing up, it's not your strategy. I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. Have you ever noticed in your life or your business when you have this enthusiastic energy behind something, things just work out so much easier? Like I can think of several campaigns in my business where my energy, my enthusiasm, my optimism behind it was just like, it just popped off. It was amazing. But I can also think of times where it kind of like, it felt like a grind because I was like, well, I hope this works. And that kind of attitude created a result that felt like a little constrained. And so I've been thinking about this and how when we create content, that the right thing said in the right energy is what makes it the right thing. And even if you don't have the best vocabulary or your thoughts perfectly strung together in a framework that has a perfect beginning, middle, and end or hook story offer, that you don't speak in sound bites like some incredible people out there that I totally wish I was like, it's the energy behind it that really matters. I saw this speaker at an event recently. He was teaching public presentation skills, and he did this demonstration of him speaking to the camera, and the words he was saying were so empowering. Like he was just lovely. Like, you're so amazing and you're gonna crush that stage, and the way that you perform is incredible. You know, he's saying these things that like are pouring into the audience. But then his body language was, he was doing like, you're amazing. This is amazing. This, like, his words were completely opposite of his body language. He was doing like the middle fingers and finger guns and pretending he's getting hung, and like this physical body language was so completely opposite of the words he was saying. So that's the same thing that can happen through your energy that comes through your words, your copy, your videos. And so I'm starting to do this thing on my YouTube channel, which you may have noticed, and I would invite you guys to do the exact same thing that I'm doing. I set up my camera and I just stream of consciousness talk to it. The same way that I'm talking to you right now. I don't always need to have a script. I have an idea. I'm gonna turn on the recorder and share with you guys. And I feel like we have a close enough relationship here, right here on this channel, that I think I have permission to do that. And I also have the permission to slip up on my words. And guess what? You have the exact same permission in every single platform that you speak to. You don't need my permission, but if you need it, here you go. If you are on a stage and maybe you have a huge audience in front of you, you only have 22 minutes or something, yeah, you should probably be a little more buttoned up, really respect the audience's time, have a clear, concise message. But when you're on social media, you're on Facebook or YouTube or any of these platforms, it's social. It's like the cocktail party. It's a back and forth communication. Have you ever read a post that you're like, yeah, I get the idea, but I just don't feel it. I don't feel the enthusiasm in it. Or you can tell when it's written by ChatGPT. I feel like I've been on a good roll with my copy I've written recently on Facebook. It's felt really meaningful. I also feel like it's been acknowledged by the response in the comments, that the emotion that's felt while I've been writing it has transferred. And that is what sales is. Sales, coaching, content is just a transfer of belief. Relationships is a transfer of energy. And that's one of the biggest keys that people are missing when they're creating content and in business. There's two parts that they're missing, is obsession and enthusiasm. When people know you're obsessed, they're like, that's my person. Like sometimes you can get people that, yeah, poo-poo on you, like, oh, Elon Musk, who does he think he is trying to get to Mars? That's crazy until it happens. Do you ever see that quote where it's like, people will think you're crazy when you're starting a business until then they ask if they can work for you? The obsession and the enthusiasm. Like, I want to work with people who are obsessed. I want to work with people who have crazy, over the top, like enthusiasm, that they are obsessed with making it happen. And that obsession and enthusiasm is what you pay for. Would you rather go to a restaurant where the chef is like, whatever, just gotta get this friggin' food on the table and clock my hours and get the heck out of here? Or do you want to go to the restaurant where the chef is like, I grew these tomatoes in my own garden, and I turned my kitchen into a chemistry lab to make the perfect spaghetti sauce. The secret sauce is that enthusiasm and obsession. Would you rather have food from the bored chef restaurant that he's just putting in the hours on the clock and can't wait to get out of there so we can go home and watch Netflix? Or do you want to eat from the restaurant where this guy eats, sleeps, and breathes it? This person is obsessed with the meal, and as a result, I'm gonna be obsessed with that single bite that I taste. It's gonna be like the best food I've ever eaten. That is a transfer of belief and energy. Earlier this year, I was in a tough place in my business where things weren't exactly going how I wanted them to go. It's so much easier to connect the dots looking backwards. Now I look at it like, okay, universe, business, I see how stuff was falling apart so I could learn a better way to do it. At the time, I was in so much frustration and a bit of scarcity, and it's hard to be creative when you're in scarcity. What I look at and be like, well, what do I gotta do to make this happen? I lost my obsession and my enthusiasm. And I'm sure you can see on social media when you see people that you follow that they are so obsessed with what they do that it's like, it's contagious. You want to work with them, or you want to refer people to them when you know someone's looking for something they need. I had a sales call with a lady the other day, and I'm probably gonna make a whole YouTube video on just this call, which, by the way, again, I'm just gonna like turn on my camera, stream of consciousness, talk like this. Like, your sales calls, your coaching conversations are gold for your content, because the questions they're asking, the objections you're helping them overcome, the stories that you're telling, guaranteed there are other people that are asking or questioning those exact same things that you can then make a public YouTube video to readdress. So this is exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take some of the things that I said on that sales call and I'm gonna turn it into a YouTube video. So here's what happened. I was on a call with this lady and she was showing me her Instagram and she's like, it's just not working. I've tried so much and I'm just gonna give up and I'm gonna do something completely different, complete 180. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, you're actually really close. Like, the 180, I don't think is actually more aligned with you. She's a real estate agent and she's doing this content where she's showing cool things in the neighborhood, like, hey, here's this new restaurant that opened and here's this gym that I go to and you could go here if you also live in this neighborhood, buy a house from me. Sometimes she shares stories about her son and whatever. When I watched the content, there were some little things that were missing. Like, you know, she didn't have a strong hook at the beginning, or it took too long to get into what the actual content was. And when people are scrolling, if it doesn't grab them immediately, they're just gonna keep scrolling. So she's like, I'm just gonna change my content so I'm more tactical. I'm gonna share numbers and data and facts. And I'm like, I don't know if that's actually better. Like, are you excited about that? When I was a kid and I was growing up, math and science were the worst subjects for me. If I had to explain science in a video, I couldn't do it. But you know who can? Bill freaking Nye, the science guy. That guy is obsessed with science and he makes it so fun because he's obsessed. I believe that there's a fun to science because he does. But if you put it in the Charlie Brown teacher in front of people that's like, wah, 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 that's not gonna be fun, is it? No, sir. So I was looking at her content and the example I gave her that I'm probably gonna put in its own YouTube video to reiterate this, because the point I think is really good, is let's imagine there's two companies on the table here right now. We have company A, they sell soap, and in their content there's like, here's our soap, and the next post they're like, this soap smells good, and then they're like, this soap makes your skin feel good, and then in the next post they're like, here's our soap. Would you follow them? I don't know, maybe you would. Let's look at soap B, company B. Soap B shares this story of how the company came to be. Turns out it's this mother of 5, and one day she's in church and she gets this divine download message from God in her prayers telling her to build $1 billion soap company. She's like, what? Soap? And so she starts learning about natural ingredients. And she had a farm, and on her farm she had bees, so she starts learning about beeswax. She basically turns her kitchen into a chemistry lab and is testing all these different formulas to make the perfect soap that was natural, that was healthy, that made your skin feel smooth. And as a byproduct, it actually turned out to heal some skin ailments like eczema and rosacea. And because she was just so in love with this soap, she shared this in her content. And she'd also share how she and her 5 kids, which for parents out there, you're like, holy smoke, if you have 5 kids and you're building a Sing from Passion, that's amazing. Look at that transfer of belief and energy. She and her kids would go to farmers markets on the weekends and completely sell out their soap, because it wasn't just, here's my soap. It was, here's this soap that I made from this spiritual experience that prompted me to make this, and I basically turned my life upside down because of how much it means to me, and now brought my kids involved in it. So now it's this family business that we all run, and we're all passionate together, and we're all proud of what we've made and bonding that comes from us working together on the weekends. Would you like to buy some of our soap? You care about it more because she cares about it more, and you know how much she cares. What's that quote? You don't care how much someone knows until you know how much they care. You can tell me in the comments which soap you would buy, soap A or soap B. It's actually a true story, if you didn't know this by now. Part of the reason why you don't necessarily see all the accounts you follow is because you don't engage with all the accounts you follow. The social media accounts are only gonna show the pages at the top of the algorithms, the ones that you actually engage with. So if I went through my follow list, there's probably so many accounts I follow that I haven't seen anything from because I haven't engaged with it. And the reason I haven't engaged with it is because it hasn't engaged me. Are you engaged in your own content? Like, if I were to draw this out on a whiteboard, it's like this cycle. Are you all engaged? Are you all out engaged in your content you're making? You're not doing this to check off a box. You're not doing this for an outcome of like, well, you know, I'm only posting this if it works. If it doesn't, I'm gonna quit. Are you all out engaged? That you're like, I love this content. I'm creating it for me first because I care about this. I'm gonna share it with people. So you're all out engaged. People may engage with your content, the right people, not everyone. The algorithms are unpredictable. We can't guarantee that if we have 10,000 people following us, that all 10,000 people are gonna see it. But if you do have good content, there's a better likelihood that more people, including a cold audience, will see it. Are you engaged with your content so that people can engage with you? It then becomes this cycle now of you being really excited about the content you get to create, the business you get to build. Did you know that when Mr. Beast started his YouTube channel, he was obsessed with making the best videos ever? Like, if I could find several of his videos and I could make a montage of him saying, I just want to make the best videos possible. That was his goal. His goal was to grow in his skills and expertise and continue to meet the person that he would become through that process. And sure, he had goals of, like, he was saying, I want to reach 100,000 subscribers, which now he has far surpassed that, right? He's at over 300 million subscribers. But do you think that if his goal was just need this to work, and if his definition of success, of this working, was a vanity metric or some external validation? I want to know that my content is reaching people, but if it's not, that's not an indicator to give up, it's an indicator to get better. If my post doesn't hit, if my video doesn't work, I'm gonna ask myself why, and I'm gonna get better on the next one. Pop quiz for you guys. Mr. Beast, at his 100th video, how many subscribers do you think he had? Put in the comments below. Pause this video, make your guess, and if you put the accurate number, I'm gonna know that you didn't pause it and you waited to hear the answer. Okay, at his 100th video, he only had, drumroll please, 760 subscribers. Putting out 100 videos is a lot of work. Do you think that you would have lasted? Do you think that you would have made 100 videos? Do you think you would have even gotten to 100 if your subscriber growth was that slow? If that's all you cared about was a subscriber number, then you probably would have given up by then. But if you're focused, also acknowledging your other wins, like how your videos improved, the relationships you built, the skills you learned, and it's not like no sales or lead generation is happening from that. I have clients with small YouTube channels, even less than 1,000 subscribers, that are making 6 or 7 figures. If that's your focus on growth instead of a vanity metric, you can see the path of where else you have to go. That's the excitement of growing a business. Business is the biggest game of personal development, but if you're only doing it for an outcome, like, you may as well go back to having a job where you just want to make money and clock out at the end of the day. There certainly was a year for me where I was basically like blackout, just creating content to check a box, just to get an outcome. I was even sold into this editing service where the guy was like, if you publish 5 videos a week, I can guarantee that you're gonna get to 100,000 subscribers. You know what I got? I did not get 100,000 subscribers yet. I got burnt out. That was not the right attitude that I even had with creating that content. It was like a chore. That is not the energy for the right transfer of belief to make that outcome happen. I am much more interested in helping you guys learn to love content. Find the strategy that allows you to love content and do it in a way that feels so fun and aligned with you. Like me doing this. Like, I came up with this idea on a Saturday morning, sitting on my couch, looking out my window, having my morning beverage, which is not coffee. I don't drink coffee, by the way. I know it's an outrage. What, am I crazy? I know. I just felt really inspired to share this with you today, something that has been on my mind recently. One of my favorite ways to make content is just what's on my mind. What matters to me right now that I can share? Let's go back to the science experiment. If I have to make content to explain science, that's not my expertise. That is not gonna go well. People will not believe me when I start talking about mitochondria and the cells and the molecular like, I'm making stuff up right now. I don't even know if it makes sense, but I'm sure you can hear my enthusiasm where I'm like, I want you guys to find content that you love, what feels like the long game that you are willing to play because of who you will become in the process. I am obsessed with it. I have so much enthusiasm for it. I hope that belief transfers to you. If you want our help with it, if you click the link below, get our Profit with Video game plan. It's 31 days, every single thing to do for 31 days to help you build your system. And then next, go watch this video that will actually show you an overall picture of one of my favorite strategies to grow your audience, grow your business, and grow who you become. Click that below.